A God in Chains is a 2019 novel by Matthew Hughes. It is a Dying Earth novel by the guy labeled supposedly as Jack Vance's heir apparent once upon a time. I'm not sure who labeled him that. I read his Barbarians of the Beyond before this, which is actually an official novel set in the Demon Prince's universe, and that was okay. So I wanted to read something that was of his own creation, with obviously some inspiration from Vance. The story starts with a man following a caravan trail. He doesn't remember who he is or where he's going. It's just like he wakes up all of a sudden, right, while walking. And it's a classic amnesia trope. The narration is in first person, too. A few things can be deduced. He knows how to fight and has been to a certain city before. His accent points to an origin in or near Almeri. I don't think this is Vance's world, even though the name sounds like it. Hughes has previously published in this world, and I have not read these stories, this world that the story is set in, I should say. There are no chapters, just parts. The first one is about half the book, but there are 8 by the end. They just get shorter. Each one is shorter than the one before it. The story moves along pretty swiftly, though remains generally plotless for a little while. It's just the narrator figuring things out. At first it feels pretty typical Dying Earth, but toned down on weirdness to be a bit more typical fantasy. Maybe that's for, the modern reader. And we get something that modernizes it in some sense with the narrator asks an androgynous character their pronouns. One thing I think the author was trying to do was kind of bring the general ideas of entropy in a long-lived world to a character that personified not knowing his past, right? As it's regained, the story moves from mundane feeling fantasy to the weird stuff. This happens, but it takes about halfway point to get exciting, really. And maybe some of these memories are best left buried when we do get there. Part 2 is in the first person, but from another character, and getting here it becomes obvious this book has very little action in it, but becomes a lot more interesting and then continues to accelerate exponentially along this path. It gets mystical and cosmological and very magical and even Gnostic, and it is firmly weird fantasy, which I can appreciate, regardless if it didn't quite grip me as much as I would have liked. I am glad to have read it, and maybe we'll check out some other things by Hughes at some point. I'm not sure if he's read or written anything that's like a novella or short story length, because I think I might want to try something like that by him. But I don't hear anyone talk about him in any community I'm in, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, Liam from Liam's Lyceum. I'll catch you next time.